We're good? Am I on? I can't hear, but okay. All right. Back to the book of Numbers again. Chapter 26 now. We're getting, Jess, not close enough, are we? We'll be in Numbers till sometime, I've mapped it out, sometime in September or early October. We got a long way to go still yet, but we'll get there. Let's kind of do our review and then kind of look through the chapter paragraph by paragraph. So it's kind of putting us in the proper place, right frame of mind for what Moses is doing this week. We need to kind of understand what he's doing the last couple. And so thinking back chapters 23 and 24, story with Balak and Balaam, it was about blessings. The blessings that Balaam pronounced, 4 times no less, in those 2 chapters, quickly forgotten. It's like they didn't even listen to him. That or they took it for granted, maybe the other side of the problem. And so what we saw in chapter 25 then were God's curses on Israel for their disobedience so quickly. And they're guilty of a couple things, if you remember from last time. They began to worship Baal, or Baal, depending how you want to say it. And they began to intermarry with the Moabite women and Midianite women. And so, 2 problems setting them up for failure. And as a result of those sins, we discovered at the end of chapter 24 or 25, 24,000 people died in a plague. Remember the book of Numbers, what are we doing every so often? Counting people. We had to count early on. Now, because of this massive death cycle they've just gone through, Moses is going to have to take a new census. Find out where the people now stand numerically. So this is going to be one of those chapters in the book that everybody goes, oh, it's all about numbers. I don't think it's all about numbers. I think the numbers are teaching us something. But I want us to pay attention to those numbers as we kind of work through it. So if you're ready, let's go to chapter 26. We'll do it paragraph by paragraph, as we always do. So chapter 26, verse 1. After the plague that's mentioned at the end, the Lord said to Moses and to Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest. We have technical difficulties? Okay. Take a census of all the congregation of the people of Israel, from 20 years old and upward, by their fathers' houses, all in Israel who are able to go to war. And Moses and Eleazar the priest spoke with them in the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho, saying, take a census of the people from 20 years old and upward, as the Lord commanded Moses. The people of Israel who came out of the land of Egypt were. And we'll go through those paragraphs in just a moment. So, again, setting the census up. Verse 1, it's God who spoke. Spoke to Moses and Eleazar. Now, we got to flash back a month or so or more. The reason he's now talking to Moses and Eleazar, Aaron's dead. Body's in the grave. People move on without him. And so when God speaks to Moses, as we've now already said, he commanded the 2 of them to take a new census. So we need a new head count. We need new numbers. And they're just told, again, as they were earlier in the book, to count specifically military-aged men. Men who are over the age of 20 and ready to go to war. Kind of keep that in the back of your mind for when we get to the end of the chapter here in a few minutes. I want to, if I remember, come back to that specific comment. And then following Jethro, Moses' father-in-law's advice way back when, Moses and Eleazar then delegated the task to the tribal leaders. They're not going to count all these people. They're going to have the tribal leaders count the people within their tribe. So Moses is delegating authority, having other people do some of the work. And then we begin this long stretch for most of the rest of the chapter, going through the tribes group by group. So that's what we'll do relatively quickly. chapter 26, verse 5. Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, the sons of Reuben of Hanok, the clan of the Hanakites, and of Palu, Paluites, of Hezron, the clans of Hezronites, of Carmi, the clans of Carmites. These are the clans of the Reubenites, and those listed were, Jess, here you go, 43,730. Where are we? I know, but I'm just telling you, you go ahead and get ahead of me here. I know, it's going to mess you up. We'll come back. It's open book. It's verse 7. And the sons of Palu, Eliab, the sons of Eliab, Nemuel, and Dathan, and Abiram. These are the Dathan and Abiram, chosen from the congregation, who contended against Moses and Aaron in the company of Korah, when they contended against the Lord. And the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up together with Korah. When that company died, when the fire devoured 250 men, and they became a warning. But the sons of Korah did not die. So here's the blanks, Jess. You good? You with? 43,000 is the same in English, Greek, I mean, so, verses 5 through 11. Reuben, first tribe to give the report. And right now, David Morrell's glad he's back in the security booth and doesn't have to read all those names out loud. It's Reuben. Why Reuben first? He's the firstborn. And then the rest of the other 11, by the way, are going to be grouped and listed by their birth mothers. They're not going to be in chronological order in terms of firstborn, secondborn, thirdborn. He's going to follow the birth mothers that we saw way back in Genesis. When they come back and report all that they've counted, they report, Jess, 43,730 of men of military age. Now, so we don't have to keep bouncing back and forth earlier in the book. I did the work for you. In the earlier census in the book of Numbers, they counted 46,500 men. So they've taken a hit. Moses, in recounting all this for us, I guess pun intended, includes a reference to Dathan and Abiram and the rebellion of Korah. Just kind of so you don't forget, oh yeah, there was that rebellion earlier in the book. There is an interesting note, and I didn't put it on the blank because I knew Jessica was going to complain about how many blanks on the page. The reference to it, it didn't take the lives of the sons of Korah. You go, okay, so what? That's the only other reference other than the book of Psalms to the sons of Korah, who wrote like 13 of the Psalms. And so there is some debate among scholars, are the people adding to the book of Psalms descendants of the guy who had rebelled against Moses and Aaron? And so, if so, it's an interesting change of heart, if you will, having seen so many of their family members and friends die. So we've got Reuben first. Next chapter, next paragraph. The sons of Simeon, according to their clans, of Nemuel, the clan of the Nemuelites, of Yamin, the son of the Yamanites, of Yachin, the son of the clan of the Yachanites, of Zerah, the clan of the Zerahites, of Shaul, the clan of Shualites. These are the clans of the Simeonites, 22,200. So, easy handout to fill out tonight. A lot of blanks, easy to do. Verses 12 to 14, we're talking about the descendants of Simeon. They report in their count 22,200 who are of military age. And then let this sink in. Earlier in the book, when they're counted, they counted 59,300. So they took more than just a hit somewhere along the way. Verses 15 through 18. The sons of Gad, according to their clans, of Zephon, the clan of the Zephonites, of Haggi, the clan of the Haggites, of Shuni, the clan of the Shunites, of Ozni, the clan of the Oznites, of Eri, clan of the Erites; of Arad, the clan of the Aradites; of Oreli, the clan of the Orelites. These are the clans of the sons of Gad as they were listed, 40,500. So, third listed, Gad. Number reported to Moses, 40,500. That earlier census that we're now referring back to, 46,550. So they've lost a goodly number of folks. Nothing compared to Simeon, but still a good number of men gone. Because remember, what was the promise or the threat? Everybody over the age of 20 is going to die before they get to the land, into the land. So we're getting a sense of how many people have died and how many people have been replaced in the process. So these are not all the same 40,500 or whatever. These are some who have been replaced by their children and their grandchildren. 19 to 22. The sons of Judah were and Onan. And and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Judah, according to the clan, were of Shelah, the clan of Shelonites; of Perez, the clan of the Perizzites; of Zerah, the clan of the Zerahites. The sons of Perez were of Hezron, and the clan of the Hezronites; of Hamul, the clan of the Hamulites. These are the clans of Judah as they were listed, 76,500. So Judah comes next. Biggest tribe. It's interesting, as he begins the discussion of them, he makes a reference to the death of and Onan, who died back in the book of Genesis. Without going into all the gory details, one brother died prematurely. The other is given the task of marrying his brother's widow and producing a family for him. He disobeyed God and died for his sin. Thus, we get down to Perez being the number one son descendant and the importance he's going to play later in the Bible. Their count, they report 76,500. And going back to the beginning of the book, in that earlier census, they counted 74,600. So unlike their counterparts, they've grown in number in the intervening stories. Paragraph that begins with verse 23. The sons of Issachar, according to their clans: of Tola, the clan of the Tolites; of Puvah, the clan of the Punites; of Jashub, the clan of the Jashubites; of Shimron, the clan of the Shimronites. These are the clans of Issachar as they were listed, 64,300. So, bottom of the first page there, fifth clan, fifth tribe, Issachar. One that many of us probably wouldn't remember if we were asked by somebody, can you list all 12 tribes? Issachar just kind of falls off the list. Yet he's one of the biggest. They report at this point, at the end of the 40 years in the wilderness, 64,300. They had previously been counted at 54,400. So they've increased in size. Moving on. Verse 26. The sons of Zebulun, according to their clans: of Sered, the clan of the Zeredites; of Elon, the clan of the Elonites; of Jaleel, the clan of the Jaleelites. Say that one 3 times fast. These are the clans of the Zebulunites as they were listed, 60,500. So here we are, verse 26, 27, Zebulun. Another one we'd have a hard time remembering. They report 60,500 ready for war. Now you get in a sense for why Balak was worried about these people. In the earlier census, the Zebulunites were 57,400. So they've grown a little bit. Verse 28, long paragraph. Sons of Joseph, according to their clans, Manasseh and Ephraim. The sons of Manasseh, of Machir, the clan of the Machirites. And Machir was the father of Gilead. Of Gilead, the clan of the Gileadites. These are the sons of Gilead. Of Iezer, the clan of the Iezerites. Of Helek, the clan of the Helekites. And of Asriel, the clan of the Asrielites. And of Shechem, the clan of the Shechemites. And of Shemitah, the clan of the Shemidaites. Good luck with that one. Shemidaites. And of Hepher, the clan of the Hepherites. Now, Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, had no sons, but daughters. And the names of the daughters of Zelophehad were Mahlah, Noah, Haglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. These are the clans of Manasseh, and those were listed 52,700. So, now 28 to 34 on the handout. Talking about the tribe of Joseph. Remember, never talk about Joseph anymore. Represented by his two sons. The first one mentioned, the longest count here in these two, is that of Manasseh. They report 52,700 warriors. Put this in perspective, in the earlier census, they counted 32,300. So they've grown substantially. Now to his brother, verse 35. These are the sons of Ephraim according to their clans. Of Shuthelah, the clan of the Shuthelites. Of Becher, the clan of the Becherites. Of Tahan, the clan of Tahanites. And these are the sons of the Shalula. Of Aaron, the clan of the Aaronites. These are the clans of the sons of Ephraim as they were listed. 32,500. These are the sons of Joseph according to their clans. So Ephraim, mentioned after his brother. They report 32,500. In that earlier census in the book, they had 40,500. So the one son has prospered, the other son not so much. Bless you. Verse 38. These are sons of Benjamin, according to their clans. Of Bela, the clan of the Belaites. Of Ashbel, the clan of the Ashbelites. Of Ahiram, the clan of the Ahiramites. Of Shephuphim, the clan of the Shephuphamites. Of Hupham, the clan of the Huphamites. The sons of Bela were Ard and Naaman. Of Ard, the clan of the Ardites. Of Naaman, the clan of the Naamites. These are the sons of Benjamin according to their clans, and those listed were 45,600. So almost there to the middle of the page. Next tribe mentioned, Benjamin, Joseph's brother from the same mother. They report a good contingent, 45,600 ready for war. In the earlier census, the beginning of the book, they numbered 35,400. So they've grown. Verse 42 in that paragraph. The sons of Dan according to their clans. Of Shum, the clan of the Shuamites. These are the clans of Dan according to their clans. And all the clans of the Shuamites, as they were listed, were 64,400. So, middle of the handout, Dan is next. They report 64,400. In the earlier census, they reported 62,700. So they've grown a little bit, but they have grown. Verse 44. The sons of Asher according to their clans. Of Imnah, the clan of the Imnites. Of Ishvi, the clan of the Ishvites. Of Beriah, the clan of the Berites. Of the sons of Beriah, of Eber, the clan of the Eberites. Of Malchiel, the clan of the Malchielites. And the name of the daughter of Asher was Sarah. These are the clans of the sons of Asher as they were listed, 53,400. So right there in the dead center of the back page. Asher's descendants report after Dan. Their new number, 53,400. Their earlier number, 41,500. So they've grown over the course of the 40 years. Now, verse 48. The sons of Naphtali, according to their clans, of Jaziel, the clan of the Jazielites, of Guni, the clan of the Gunites, of Jezer, the clan of the Jezerites, of Shelam, the clan of the Shelamites. These are the clans of Naphtali according to their clans. Those listed were 45,400. So, last tribe mentioned with warriors. There's still another tribe, but the last one with warriors, Naphtali. Current number, 45,400. Previous number, 53,400. So they've gone down in number significantly. Verse 51 in the text gives us the sum total to this point. This was the list of the people of Israel, 601,730. The earlier census, back at the beginning of the book, totaled 603,550. So on the whole, they've only gone down a little. But of course, as you look back at those numbers, and it'd be an interesting study, go back and think about the numbers, why some tribes gained, why some tribes took big hits. Some of those tribes seemed like they lost half their people. Other tribes made up for it and recovered. It's interesting, some of the ones that had the most problems were the early sons of the wife who was, how was it phrased in Genesis? She who was of weak eyes. Yeah, that didn't work out so well. But anyway, overall, numbers have not gone down a whole lot comparatively. Now, verse 52, that paragraph tells us why this is important. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, among these the land shall be divided for inheritance according to the number of names. To a large tribe you shall give a large inheritance. To a small tribe you shall give a small inheritance. Every tribe shall be given its inheritance in proportion to its list. But the land shall be divided by lot. According to the names of the tribes of their fathers, they shall inherit. Their inheritance shall be divided according to the lot between the larger and the smaller. So here's the primary importance of this census. It's not about how many warriors we have to go into battle the Canaanites. God's already promised he's going to beat them. The primary importance is to determine the inheritance. Once you beat them, these numbers actually become really important. With the answer being, verse 54, the larger tribes, obviously, are going to get larger, more land. Smaller tribes get less. The reason I said pay attention to the warrior discussion all along is the size of the tribe is not determined by the total number of people, but by the number of people who are male and capable of fighting. Right? So you can have a tribe with a lot of women and have a limited number of men. And so while they may have the same number of people totally, they're going to get less than a tribe that has more warriors. And the reason I point that out is I think this supports the biblical notion that those who work get rewarded. Right? If we can field 70,000 soldiers, we're putting up more of our share of the work than a group that can only field 30,000 soldiers. We're putting in more risk, we're doing more work. And so I think there's a principle there that it's not only merely who's got the biggest, in one sense, it's almost who's going to contribute the most to the success in the land. And we'll see that next chapter when the whole debate about, well, we really don't want to go into the land. That's a whole different story for next week. But through it all, verses 55 and 56, what they're ultimately going to learn, the lesson they're going to learn, is to trust God's providence. Because not only are the bigger tribe going to get more land than the little tribe, the best land is going to be determined by lot. So not only is Judah going to get more because they're more than everybody else, if their name is drawn first, they get the best land of all the other tribes. And then down the way the list goes. So there they're trusting not luck when they cast lots. They're trusting God's providence to make the lot land the way it lands. We see that in the story of finding a new disciple or apostle to replace Judas in Acts 1. I think they were wrong for picking a new apostle, but that's how they picked him, was by lot. And then we're going to do Esther this winter. After we finish Numbers, we're going to do James. After we do James, we're going to do Esther sometime next winter, spring. And remember the story of Esther, the evil genius of the Persians decided what day to kill the Jews based on casting lots. When the Jews, by God's providence, gain the king's favor and are protected, they celebrate by creating a feast to celebrate the lots. Because they don't see it as luck, they see it as God's providence. So here is God's providence even in this. Now, next paragraph. This was the list of the Levites according to their clans. There's the missing tribe. Of Gershon, the clan of the Gershonites. Of Kohath, the clan of the Kohathites. Of Merari, the clan of the Merarites. These are the clans of Levi. The clan of the Libnites. The clan of the Hebronites. The clan of the Malites. The clan of the Mushites. The clan of the Korahites. And Kohath was the father of Amram. Remember, here comes a little history lesson to remind us back earlier. The name of Amram's wife was Jochebed, the daughter of Levi, who was born to Levi in Egypt. And she bore to Amram Aaron and Moses, and Miriam their sister. And to Aaron were born Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died when they offered unauthorized fire before the Lord. And those listed were 23,000, every male from a month old and upward. For they were not listed among the people of Israel, because there was no inheritance given to them among the people of Israel. So they're counted differently. So verses 57 to 62, now we're talking about the descendants of Levi. Counted differently, treated differently. Because they're going to have no inheritance. When they get done counting all the males, 23,000 of them, who one day will be of age to work in the temple or the tabernacle. In the earlier census, earlier in the book, there were 22,300 of them. And doggone it, if I would, I could. I don't remember what the asterisk was there to remind me of. There was something fascinating I saw the other day, and it's gone bye-bye. And so they have grown just a small percentage, but they've been largely faithful throughout other than Nadab and Abihu. Now, verse 63 in the last paragraph. These were those listed by Moses and Eleazar the priest, who listed the people of Israel in the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho. But among those are these that were not one of those listed by Moses and Aaron the priest, who had led the listed people of Israel in the wilderness of Sinai. For the Lord said of them, they shall die in the wilderness. Not one of them was left except Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. So, last paragraph. Moses and Aaron, not listed in this one, not counted. Why? Because like all the rest of the men over the age of 20, turns out, they're going to die in the wilderness. Aaron's already gone. Moses is coming soon. Why do they die in the wilderness? Disobedience. Of all the men who were over the age of 20, way back when, in chapter 10 and 11, only Caleb and Joshua are counted in both censuses. Think about that. Moses and Aaron, and as all important as they are, aren't counted in both censuses. Only Joshua and Caleb. And Caleb we often overlook because he doesn't come off as heroic as Joshua and doesn't get his own book. But here Moses is listing them together side by side. They're in both censuses. Why? Because of their obedience. So what is God looking for us to get out of this story? Who inherits the land? The obedient ones. Now, I'm going to turn off my mic before we pray.